There we go. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining tonight's training webinar. We want to thank each and one of you for taking the time to join us. For those that don't know me, I am past District Governor Michelle Wyatt. I am part of the Colchester Lions Club and serving this year as Global Leadership Team Lead. Before I introduce our presenter, let me go over tonight's stuff. So tonight the meeting is going to be recorded for training purposes. We ask everyone to keep yourselves muted. If you have a question, we ask that you type it into the chat feature or raise your hand. I will be monitoring the chat room, and if I see your hand raised, I will call upon you to either unmute yourself or to put a question into the chat feature. PCC Frank is from the Ledyard Lions Club, and he is going to be going over with us in depth a little bit our new Lions portal. So welcome, Frank.
Well, thank you very much. And there's a couple other people. Okay, I just try to admit people. And I'm going to get straight into the... Betsy, can you see my screen all right?
Yes, I can.
Good. Okay. Okay, so by a show of hands, let's see if I can do this so I can see everybody. There we go. Now I can see everybody. By a show of hands, how many people have already signed on to the portal?
Oh,
So
a lot
good.
of people.
There are a lot
Look
of
at
brave
this.
people out there. That's important.
Yeah, it looks like almost everybody has tried.
Okay, good. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on logging in. The important thing is to remember that we are here. If there is problems that you have, if you can't get into the system, let us know. We'll try to work as quickly as we can get everybody signed in. So this is similar to what we put the first time, but this time we have been using it so we know a little bit more about it. And again, the new portal has taken over, and it refers to MyLion. MyLion doesn't exist as it did before, and the MyLCI is now part of the functions within the portal, including Insights. Insights you're probably going to be using a little bit more because that's where a lot of the reporting information we're going to get. And then there's some other tools and functionality that we'll have. So you just have to keep an eye on the updates as they come through. The key dates, we've already got into the initial release, and a lot of people were looking for invites. Basically, now you don't have to get an invite to use it. You just have to go into the Lions page, which I'll show you in a second. There's going to be various stages in which they'll release certain functions. Not all of the functions are fully working right now, but most of them are. And then, one of the things I just want to talk about is why do we need the Lion portal? And we are an organization, and we're trying to hit the 1.5 million. And that means that it's very important to figure out how to communicate together, how to keep track of all of our Lions, their accomplishments, our clubs, their accomplishments. And that's what the purpose of the portal is to help. Now, the important thing here is that the presidents, secretaries, and club administrators can manage the information for your club. The zone chairs and other people can see the information, but they can't manipulate the data at all. The club service team coordinator can also do activity reports. The treasurer does have some access, and the members can change some of their own information. And that's, part of the issue right there is that you got to keep the Lions aware that they're responsible for making sure that they keep their information up to date. Under the old days, it was very simple. You went in through the portal, and then the first screen you saw was the MyLion, MyLCI Insights, etc. And it's similar but different now. In order to get in, you hit the member login as you did in the past, unless you saved it to your browser. After you logged in, you'll get this screen, and the first on the right-hand side to get started. So for those who have not created a new user under the portal, this is where you would start, because this is where you have to create a password. And here's the thing that confuses people a little bit. They're saying that you can't use your old new password. Well, part of the reason why is because under the new portal, there is no password in there, but you can log into the old system to make sure they confirm you are who you are. So you can still use the same password, but you have to create a password under the new system. So that could be a little confusing. For those who are already signed on, have an account, you don't have to go to the Get Started anymore. You go down to the lower left-hand side there where it says log in. It says go to the portal. And then it's a normal portal, log in like you've been experienced in the past. Your email, in this case, some people may have used their phone numbers because they might have signed on to MyLion through their phones. You can no longer use your phone number. It has to be an email address. And this reminds me that, again, today I saw that there was a couple in a club that's using the same email. And the issue is that if you're in a club that has a couple as officers, you cannot use the same email address and fill two officer positions. It doesn't work. So that's something that those people are going to have to deal with. So this is the screen that you're going to see when you first get into it. Oops, sorry about that. I just washed my hands, can't do a thing with them. So again, my membership will give you your information directly, and this is where you'll be able to edit your own information. My club is exactly what it says. It's my club. It'll show you the members and the officers. And then my CA, it goes up just a little bit higher, and you'll find out that some of the things that you need to find out within the district or the multiple district information or above. My association is a little bit more generally, statistics that, are worldwide. So I'm going to go right into exploring some of the things that we're able to do with, and exploring my club is the first thing we'll do. Let me coming back to, there we go. We'll try this one. I hit the wrong. Here we go. Can everybody see that now?
Let me show you how we do stuff.
Yes.
And I apologize for
My
the ads,
department
but
uses
we can't eliminate those.
So I'm good. Work management tool? No, that's not for me.
Okay, here we go. I'll let you listen.
This video will walk you through how to see your club details. First, from the home page, navigate to the My Club page. This page will show you the details of your club. The top section under the club name shows the club ID, also identified as the Lion ID, the club type, and the count of active members within the club. Underneath this header, you will see the club details. Scrolling down will show you all the information about your club, such as the district that your club belongs to, or any specialty that your club is assigned, or the charter established date, the location of the club, and any meeting location information. Also notice that there are tabs next to the club detail. Next, we will select the Club Service Activities tab. This will list the club service activities of your club. If you select the service activity link within the list, you will see the actual details of that service activity. Next, the Club Financial Detail tab. If you have permission, it will let you see the balance and any statement information about your club. To the right, you will see two tabs, Member Action, and Club Action. If you have permission to manage your club, you will see a variety of buttons. Since I am logged in as just a member with no officer permission, I see one button called View Club Officers. Selecting the button labeled View Club Officers will allow me to select from a list of past, current, or future officers. In this example, I will select current and then select next. The system will provide me a list of current officers assigned in my club. If I select one of them, I will be brought to an expanded view of their information. Underneath the View Club Officers button are 3 tabs called Club Members, Club Officers, and Sponsored Clubs. Initially, I can see a quick view of the members who are in my club. Selecting the View All will expand the view for an easier read of the members' contact information. To go back to the club page, select the name of the club at the top of the expanded list. Now, select Club Officers. This tab will give you a view of any past or active officers. By selecting the View All here, you will see a full list of officers for your club, which will include all past, current, and future officer assignments. Again, select the club name at the top of the list to return to the club page. Finally, select the Sponsored Club tab to see any clubs that may be sponsored by your club. In this case, you see a list of 2 club branches and a Leo club. To navigate to any of these, just select the club you wish to view and then select the View button. The system will bring you to the details of the club you selected. Keep in mind that if you do not have permissions to view certain details, the system will block you from seeing those details. The video is now complete. Thank you.
One thing I would like to bring up at this point is that when you look at the list of people, and I'll show you this a little bit later, you'll notice that they have a membership number at the end of the list. Your club number, your Lions number, is still your Lions number. The reason why they put that in there is that's their own individual system number that they use for certain references to go to your pages on their system. So just don't want anybody to get confused. You still have the same Lions Club number that you had before. Well, we'll go into the simple thing first of all for everybody who wants to bring in new members. Here's an added member.
Hello. This video will walk you through how to add a member to your club. Once you've logged into the Lion portal, select the My Club tile from the home page. If you have permissions to add a member, you'll see a blue Manage Club Members button to the right of the page. Go ahead and select that button to begin. Now you'll see the options available to manage a member within your club. Select Add New Member. The required fields for adding a member are noted by little red asterisks found at the start of each of the field names. Type in your first name, last name, date of birth, and gender. Then select Search. The system will run a check of all members to see if the information entered matches another member in the system. If so, you may need to transfer or reinstate that member depending on their status. Continue entering the information about the person. Okay, just about done. Enter as much information as you can, and then select Next. Enter the membership start date. Enter and select the membership type. I will be entering a regular member and notice all of the various options available. The system defaults the membership category to active, but notice the other options available as well. Select next. A sponsor is required to add a new member. You can either search by name or the line ID, which is also the member ID. Make sure that the name of the member is exactly as it appears on their membership record. If more than one person holds that name in the area, you will see a list of people available. In this case, only one person was found, and it is the right person that I want. This is to verify I have chosen the right person. I will then select next. Once the system has added the new member, you will see a green confirmation bar appear at the top of the page to confirm your transaction has taken place. The page then refreshes so that you can view the new member you just added. Use the club members list to find the member you just added. You can also use the View All button to expand the list for easier reading. The Add a New Member transaction is now complete. Thank you.
Interesting, some of the YouTube ads that they have. Anyway, so we got to add a member. Now let's drop a member.
Hello, this video will walk you through how to drop a member from your club. Once logged into the Lion portal, select the My Club tile from the homepage. If you have permissions to drop a member, you will see the Manage Club Members button on the right side of the page. Select that button to continue. You'll see the options available to manage a member within your club. Select Drop Member. Select the member you wish to drop. You can also use the search bar at the top if you have a large list of members to search by name. Next, select the end date and the drop reason. If you have additional details, add them now, and then select Save. You will see a green confirmation bar appear at the top of the page. The page then refreshes so that you can view the member you just dropped. Use the View All option on the club members list below to find the member you just dropped. The drop member transaction is now complete. Thank you.
A couple of things I'd like you to just note as we watch these last two videos. Oops. First is the search. Many times we'll have a lion who's come back either from your club or another club, and doing the search is important because we've had some lions come back and the club puts them in as new. So therefore, they've lost all the history that they had previously. So try to find the person's history as a lion and try to re-enter them in the system, because then they will be able to carry forth all of the previous lion's history that they had. And when we're talking about dropping those lions too, one of the things that's very easy to do is forget about our deceased lions, but try to get them dropped. And if you would, make sure that you send a note as soon as possible, either through your zone chair or directly to the cabinet secretary or district governor to let them know that you've lost a lion so that we can make sure that they get the proper attention. Okay, let me continue on. We're going to go into a lot of us now they've had your elections, so it's time to assign your officers, and here's a little information about that.
What if you could do SEO smarter and faster? With Wix, you can edit your meta tag.
This video will walk you through how to assign a club officer. Once logged into the Lion portal, select the My Club tile from the homepage. If you have permissions to assign a club officer, you will see a blue Manage Club Officers button to the right and center of the page. Select the Manage Club Officers button. The available options to manage an officer are shown. Select Create New Assignment and then select Next. Select either the current Lion year or the upcoming Lion year. Upcoming Lion year represents an assignment that will take place upon the new Lion year on July 1st. Selecting the current Lion year will create an immediate assignment, and the system will automatically set the end date for that officer's term, and then select Next. Select the officer type, either officer or administrator. Then select the title type, either official or local. A local title is one that is specific to your club and is not specifically found in the LCI board policy. Selecting a local title will allow you to type in the name of your position, such as tail twister. We will select official for this example and then select Next. Then select the officer title you want. Based on the officer type you selected on the previous screen, the selection will vary. In this case, since we selected an official title, we have these available. We will assign the club marketing chairperson. Now select a member from the list that you want to assign to the title, and then select Next. If the new officer requires an officer address, you can add it now by selecting Yes and Next. It will bring you to the officer address screen with the home address defaulted. Change it now if you are required to do so, and then select Save. Once the system has assigned the member to the officer position, you will see a green confirmation bar at the top of the page to confirm your transaction has taken place. Note the message in the confirmation bar stating that if the officer assignment has permissions to manage transactions, it may take up to 24 hours for those permissions to be activated. Now, select Yes if you want to do another assignment, or No to complete your assignment, and then select Next. Use the Club Officers section to find the list of officers that are assigned. You can always select View More or View All for easier reading. The assigned officer transaction is now complete. Thank you.
Here are
Okay. Another point that I wanted to raise is that when you are transferring members or dropping members, if they are in an officer position, you may get a message that says you're unable to either transfer them or drop them because they are in an officer position. That means that you may have to drop them from that officer position first before you completely drop them or transfer them. And the same case for those clubs that are receiving transferred members, if they were an officer in their previous club and they have not been dropped, you may get an error message that you can't accept them into your club because they're an officer in another club. So those are just a few side issues. I'm sure we're all excited about the new system here, and I'm going to continue on. I just want to get this last one. Let's see. this one is going to be the other issue that we spend a lot of time on, and that's doing your reporting service.
Hello. This video will walk you through how to create and report service activities. On the home page of the Lion portal, select the service option from the top menu and then select My Activities. The system will bring forward a list of service activities for your club within the last 3 months. If you would like a different list view, select the drop-down arrow and select from the available options within the list. To create a new service activity, click the Service Activity button. You will see the options you have available based on your permissions to select the sponsor of the activity. The person logged in is both a Lions Club secretary and a Leo Club advisor, so she has both options for creating and reporting service. Once you select the sponsor, enter the title for the activity. Then select the activity type that you would like to enter: donation, fundraiser, meeting, or a service project. Once you've selected these 2 fields, you can select Next. Now the system can create the form and allow you to begin entering the details of the activity. From here, you can select the Edit button up in the top right to continue entering activity details. Notice there are pencil icons throughout the form as well. Those you can also select to open the form and begin entering additional details. There is also a Delete button. You are able to delete an activity that you've started, as long as it's within the current fiscal year and you're within the grace period at the end of the fiscal year. And then before we begin entering more details, notice the status is in draft. So we will select Edit. This opens up a window to the form and allows you to begin completing the information. First, we will select cause, and then project type. And then we will enter a description for the activity. And then we will enter the start and end date. We're going to create an activity that occurred in the past. The end date is in the past. This means that the activity details can be reported immediately to LCI. Required fields to report are people served, total volunteers, whether there were non-participated Lions, or family members, and total volunteer hours. All other fields, as you scroll down on the form, are optional metrics for a service project. Should you have selected a different activity type, such as a fundraiser or donation or meeting, all of these would change and they would become required fields based on your selection. So for now, they're optional. If we did have them, we can still put them in. And then the additional details are optional. This activity is in the past, so adding a venue or a start time or end time are certainly completely optional. If you would like to enter those, they're usually entered for future activities, so that if members come to the Lion portal, they'll be able to see when and where the activity takes place. And you are certainly welcome to let us know if this is a signature activity and if it is being funded by an LCIF grant. Scrolling back up to the top of the form, you can see that there's minimal information needed to report this activity. When you hit save, the system will check all fields to ensure that all required fields have been entered. Notice in the status, it has changed now to ready to report. If we were to exit this activity and go back to the service activity list, we will see it listed along with the others. Here is our activity we just entered. Notice the report complete box is not checked. This is an indicator for any officer who has permissions to report that a service project is ready for them to go into and select the box. From the list, you can either edit from the drop-down, or you can just select the activity ID and go right on into the activity. Select Edit, check the Report Complete box, and hit Save. Now the information and details have been reported to LCI. A few items of note before I end the video. Please note that the copy feature is not going to be immediately available when we go live in the Lion portal, but we are working toward a solution to make this happen in the future. Also, the ability to see and add images to activities will not immediately be available. Images you have in our My Lion system will be kept and not lost, so that when ready, we will be able to reintroduce those images to your activity, as well as allow new uploads. And finally, the ability to invite people to a future activity will not immediately be available either, while we work toward making sure that we are meeting the privacy needs for all members. The video is now complete. Thank you.
Drinking warm water
Oops.
before bed resets blood sugar level.
I'm sure it does. All right, I'm going to stop sharing just for a minute. And I'm going to give people an opportunity to, let me clear up. One of the things that it talked about when it was entering officers is it talked about an officer address. We do not use officer addresses in District 23C. There is no special need for a different address than your member address. And the other thing she was talking about is that for those who have been doing activities in the past, you know that you could add an image from your activity for the My Lion input, but right now, as she said, they won't be available right now. The other part is that one of the advantages of preparing a future activity is that you could invite other clubs, other people, other members, dignitaries. So again, that is not available at this time, but it will be in the future. So do we have any questions, PDG?
Yep, I don't see any questions in the chat, but if anybody has questions, now's the time. Oh, Charlene, you can unmute yourself. There you go.
Had to find the unmute button for a sec. Do we still keep track of our monthly membership? I didn't notice that when I went in and kind of fiddled around with it. Is that still a responsibility for keeping track, just acknowledging that we updated it for the month of April or the month of May?
Thank
as
you
we
for
go
asking
through?
that question, Charlene. That is not currently a requirement in this system. Doesn't mean that it won't change. But right now, I think that the importance is the activity reports. Now, what happens is, as in the past, if you added a member or if you dropped a member, that was a membership report. What they were asking you to do is if there was no changes during the month, to indicate that on your monthly report. Right now, there is no indication that they were requiring that. So that's when we were talking about on our list, we had the membership report as we did a little bit of research, and I checked with some of my compatriots. There is apparently no need to check the old box. It says no reports at this time.
Hmm.
I hope that answered your question for now.
Yeah, that's interesting, Frank, because on one of the videos, the training videos, you showed us having to check a box.
Check,
There was bubbles. There was 3 bubbles. And on one of the training videos, they might have taken it away.
yeah,
They're still revamping this.
well, and the one thing I will confess is that these were done prior to making it live, and we've discovered that some of the videos, there are some subtle differences between what they were projecting and what they're actually doing. But at this time, we've not been able to find any requirement for reporting members.
Lion Darla, if I can get you to unmute yourself. You had your hand raised.
Can you hear me?
I
We can hear you.
All right. My question, Frank, is for those presidents and officers that aren't available, is there a list of these videos so that they can chime into them? Are they
Yes.
on ECT Lions or something?
Yes, they're on ECT Lions. If you, there is a page now on our website. It's the Lion Portal, and it will also refer you to a lot of the videos. There's also, when you go into the resources page, you'll find a copy of the previous presentation that was given and some of the links. And then once we get this cleaned up, we'll also put this presentation and these videos on there, and also the questions that people are asking.
All right. Thank you very much, Frank.
Sure.
Brian, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. Not yet, Fran. Go ahead, try again. There you
There,
go.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Good.
I am very, very confused. It just seems like the activities is much, much more difficult than it was before. Am I just, I mean, you have to keep editing and keep auditing, and I don't understand.
Well, the problem when you have a video like this is it shows you everything at one time. And plus, so the thing is that if you recall, when you were adding activities, the first thing you did is you titled your activity, then
Right.
you did the cause and that sort of stuff. So really, much of what they're doing now is similar to what you were doing in the past. But the thing is that the one thing you just have to remember is that when you finish, if it's a activity that you're ready to report, you go up to the top where the square was to check that it's reported. So she was kind of going back, to show what happened if you didn't hit that report button. But in most cases, you'll be hitting that report button. So it's different. But I think once you start using it, you'll find that it's very similar to what you were doing before.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Frank, because I was like, what? And I thought I'm gonna have to rewatch that a couple times if it really was all these edit and
Mhm.
all these things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the one thing I am disappointed is it doesn't have a tutorial section where you can practice. That was one of the things that the old WMMR had, is that you could go in as a secretary or as a president and practice a few things with, as they were doing with make-believe data and that. But I'm hoping maybe they'll bring that out eventually.
Well, as we turn over things, I mean, I know in our club, I've been secretary for 2 terms and I'm now not. And so I'll be explaining all this to the new secretary. And so hopefully I've got it down pat.
Good.
Well,
And
the new secretary should be coming to the District Lions leadership on June 8th.
I sure hope so, but I
Make
don't
sure
know
that they come.
I will definitely advocate for that,
Thank you,
Be-
Fran.
because let me tell you, that taught me so much, Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there any other questions? I know everyone must have a lot of questions.
okay, I'm going to go back and share my screen.
Yeah.
And let me see if I can do this gracefully. without, okay, so I'm gonna go back into the portal here someplace. Let's see. Oh, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this, but let me I'm gonna ask for a show of hands. How many of you club officers have looked at your club achievement report?
You mean lately with this new?
Right, yeah, either with the new system or the old system, but I'll tell you what, let me show you how easy it is. Well, let me I gotta be careful of my words here. Because easy is relative. All right, so I'm going to all right, we're gonna change. Let me get back into Lion Portal. Okay, here's the Lion Portal. And as you can see, I went through the check-in system or check login system. So in this particular case, this goes into my club unless I have to re-sign in again. The one thing nice is that if you've been signed out for a while or dormant for a while, it won't, you'll be able to log in on the lower left-hand side as well as, going through the full login process. But this is showing, the club information. And here's, again, how she had shown there's two different tiers, the members' actions and then the club actions. And then if you look here, we have view reports. And all the reports that you had before are there, except that instead of giving you a list, you have to bring down the list. So the first one that they show you now, which used to be the last one, is the club achievements. And I just think that this is very important when you're trying to remind the clubs exactly what they've done. Now, the only little bit of a rub with this is that this doesn't make it very viewable. So what we'll have to do is let's go with a 2-page view, see if that helps. No. All right. So what I'm going to have to do with the long version here, and I do apologize for this. Okay. So there's the print view, which again, it's a little small and I apologize for that, but this is the club name, the number of members that you've dropped, the added this year, the total number of members. This is the club officers. These are the clubs who sponsored members and the number of members that they've sponsored. Here goes the LCI levels that club members have earned. So for instance, the 10-year Monarch or the 15-year, or in the case of the presidential award, or some of the other things that they may have received, membership. And also then when you go down here, it's LCIF. So for those people who are Melvin Jones, for those people who donated to, LCIF projects, you can get that. And then the other thing too is that when you look at activities now, this switch here is that before it would give you the activity title. If you see now, it doesn't give you the activity title, but at least I'm hoping that that will change. But these were events that we added since they started the My Lion. So some of the old data is still in there, but this activity report is very helpful. And the other thing too is that at the very bottom, it'll show you what you've donated for LCIF over the last 5 to 6 years. So let me see if I can get out of this now. So I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to cancel this. And if you notice, it is easy to get out of most of this stuff, but I will warn you that there is a little bit of a glitch when you're doing some of these lists. So for instance, I was explaining to you before, now this is a list of members. And if you look over here, this is their system member number, not your Lions Club number. You still maintain your original Lions Club member number. So if anybody has any questions about that, please let me know. And in some cases, if there's something you can do, you can edit. So for instance, I have the authority, since I'm the cabinet excuse me, the club secretary, I can edit these people in here. The little bit of a rub, and there is, if you look over here, there's a way to funnel what you're asking. If you'd like to find out, somebody that joined in a certain month or whatever, you can look that way. You can search by email. You can look for just active members, and that will change, because right now, if you look, you can see here's a member that was dropped, 3 years ago. But if you hit apply, now you'll only see the active members. So there's a way to clean up that list a little bit. I'm a little bit surprised about the depth of the information that they're showing you, but you can always clean it up by hitting these little funnels over here. And
Somebody asked in the chat room, how do you find their member number?
okay, normally when you go into my member right here, I mean, if you're looking for your own member number, and it shows right here, this is my number right here.
But how about if they're club secretary? They're
Okay, if
club
you're
secretary and somebody comes to them, like I go to my secretary and said, I don't know my membership number. How is she gonna go find it?
well, and again, when you get that list of numbers, and I'm hoping that they'll replace that number with your membership number, but let's go into manage club. There's also, I'll tell you what, let me try this, because these are what we're doing. We're experimenting to find out easier way of doing it. I'm going over here to club activities. I want to go into review reports. And if you wanted to have one easy, so for instance, here's roster of members data. I'm going to see if that brings it up. Otherwise, I'll show you another way, we hope. And if you notice, you can send this up, bring this up either by Excel or a printed list. Okay, this.
You gotta print it again. There you
Yeah.
go.
Okay, and I do apologize. This list does not have the number. So let me scratch that and I'll show you Plan C. So going into, oops, where'd I go here? It does have a mind of its own sometimes. So let's go into member action. Let's go into club, managing clubs. And let's just say if we wanted to edit just so that we could find someone easily.
All right.
And I'm going to,
Oh, look at all those member numbers
yep, there they are right there.
under edit members.
So that's a quick way to find it.
Yeah.
Um,
So
but-
Brittany also asked, can you print out the member lists like on the old site? They used to have spreadsheets where you could mark attendance.
Yeah, when you go into, let's go back into the club actions. Let's
Yeah,
go into the review reports.
okay.
If you looked, one of the reports right there is the club attendance report. And again, you can also ask for that in an Excel spreadsheet format. I'm a little disappointed at the at this, but there's your club attendance sheet, which you
Do
had
they
in
have member numbers on there?
yes, it does, as a matter of fact. So
Oh,
there's
there you
a way to
go.
get you. Yep.
Okay.
So there's multiple ways to get the number.
Fran Slater also says she found member numbers on the print cards. She must be
Yes.
printing up some cards.
Yeah, when you go into the print card, it'll definitely, print that
Okay.
on there. Let me see. I'm just going to go into, okay, so there's the club membership numbers right there. The one thing I'm going to ask is right now, if you look, this delegate confirmation number letter is something that's relatively new, but that one I believe refers to the international. Nope, this is also. Okay, so this is just, we've assigned, I was doing this as a practice. Please, if you want to practice, that's fine. But in the meantime, for those people who have delegates going to our state convention, please complete the delegate form that you were sent from the cabinet secretary and send that back to Sherry Ann Calhoun, our secretary, because she needs that. That's the system we're using next year. But the benefit is, for those who are going to be secretary and president next year, assigning a delegate is going to be much easier and much quicker, but we won't go over that this tonight. It's a little too far in the future. Also, the club edit details. This is something that we need to remind people of, is that sometimes you change your website, sometimes you change where you're going to meet. Most people meet on the same day, but if you change the day and that you're meeting each month, make sure that you update this information. And then once you change all the information, you hit the next, and then it'll save all your changes. One of the things that I wanted to show you, but let's see, let me go into membership. Some of the, let's see, let me go into.
So once
club
again, you'll see all of these little tabs if you're club secretary or the club administrator. Right, Frank?
President, yeah, or president.
Or president, okay.
Yes, in some cases, so for instance, if I was to go into here, I'm not going to go into, but let's say right now, if I go in through the CA, that puts me up at a slightly higher level. But let's just say if I wanted to go into this, if you notice, it says are managed by the district level, use of this feature to navigate a district page. So in other words, what it's telling me is that I'm at the wrong level to try to check this. In some other cases, when you say explore clubs, for instance, if I wanted to look at all the clubs, I could look at the district level, the multiple district level. And in this case, obviously, I want to look at District 23C. Okay, and here is all the clubs that are listed.
Yeah.
One of the things I was trying to show you, but it won't on these, which is maybe a good thing. But in some cases, if the information on the page is a little bit too much, you may get a second elevator. So you have this elevator right now, which operates the list of club names. But if you need to get down on the page, because sometimes you won't see the next button or the enter button, that you might see when you're entering some of the officers. And so just make sure that if there's a second elevator there, that you click that so you can get down to the function button. I don't know if I've confused people or let's see. And again, the service, create service. Yeah, go ahead.
Brianne Slater has a question. She says,
Okay.
we meet at 2 different places each month.
That's
One-
correct. And there's a spot for two places.
Okay, let's see that, Frank.
Okay. Let me go into my club. Let me go into club actions. And here's the club, edit club details. And if you notice, you have meeting location 1. Then you come down here, meeting location 2. So you can have 2 sets of information. And in fact, if you wanted, if you're having only one general meeting and one board meeting, you could designate the other one as a board meeting. But if you have a third meeting, for instance, if you have 2 club meetings and then 1 board meeting, then you'll just have to put that out separately.
You see that one, Fran?
Yes.
Okay, good.
What I'm worried about though is, I mean, we meet at the Steak Loft one month, we meet at Andiamo's another time. We've met at, 1 or 2 other restaurants.
Oh, okay. So you're not consistent every month on where you meet, is what you're saying.
No, at the church, we have one meeting at the church. It's our foundation and our board meeting is at the church.
Mm-hmm.
But our general membership meeting is at a restaurant, and it can be any restaurant really in the Mystic area.
Okay, what you can say here is, now here you have up to 2 places that you could designate, the meeting. However, what some clubs have done in the past is, you can type in there contact club secretary, or, and then put your email or phone number or whatever you want
Okay.
to, so they can verify where that meeting is.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Fran. We had another question from Charlene in the chat room.
Okay.
In my CA, what does the CA stand for?
Constitution area. And I will give you a quick there's a quicker way to get there too. When you don't have the logos, if you look along here, this has the same thing as the, so when you go into CA, this is, again, an area. I can't remember, we have 9 constitution areas, I think, within the world. Some of them Africa, some of them are Europe, some here in the United States or in North America. And it's able to find more information above. So if we wanted to know what our statistics are, both locally and globally, we can actually find out. And I'm just trying to see if there's anything that would be of, well, again, if we wanted to explore officers, and this is something that right now you may not be interested in it, but for instance, here's the constitutional areas. And again, this is for the Global Action Team, and this is for our constitutional area 1. So if you wanted to contact, again, in the case of leadership, you would go to PDG Michelle. If it was service, you would go to Lion Allen locally, but they have people who are at a higher level. I'm not sure if that's helped or not. It's one of those things that as you start to look more in the reports, and I don't want to confuse people by going into this, but for instance, this area, if you wanted to know all of the statistical data regarding our district, our multiple district, or our constitutional area, which is, and again, if you look, here's our constitutional areas. You got Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Europe, India, Orient, and Southeast, South America, and then here. So if I want to know just for the US, that if you look, these numbers change. So this is the reports, but that's essentially what the CA will do. There's some information that will be made available through the CA function as opposed to the club and membership. So that will be revealed as soon as it's fully implemented. Does that help at all, Shirley? Okay. And the association is just generally speaking a lot of the higher end statistics. And it takes a while sometimes to pull it up. So again, if we wanted to go by US equals. Oh, let me tell you at least one thing that makes it a little easier to find. So for instance, right now, if I wanted to go into District 23C, now, oops, my keyboard's sticking here. If you notice, you have to put a space between the 23 and the C. And when you click that, that goes to our district. Likewise, if you wanted to see a club, so let's go into Willimantic. There's only one Willimantic. In some cases, for instance, if you put in like Plainfield, you'll probably see multiple. So you can go directly into a specific club. If you wanted to go directly into your own club, you could do that. And speaking of Plainfield, since we have a couple of Plainfield members here, this is what you have to do is kind of do a quick look and just, you can see whether it's our Plainfield or someone else's, but this isn't ours because it's a District 23 or District 1. There it is. So ours showed up on the second try. And depending on what your authority is. Now, the zone chairs will have a slightly different view because they have a few clubs under their supervision. Okay, how we doing for questions? I'm gonna stop sharing here for a second and give people a breather and
Yeah, Howard has a question. Howard, I'm gonna
Howard.
ask you to unmute. I don't know where he went. There he went.
you're still muted, Howard.
I think he's trying.
Yeah. That's what Laura says about me. I'm trying. So obviously, oh, there
There
you
he
go.
Okay.
goes.
Hi, Howard.
Hi, Frank. Hi, Michelle.
Hi,
A
Howard.
question, when you, on the old system, when you were a zone chair or a club administrator, it would bring you in as your highest thing. For instance, it would say, welcome Howard Geltman, zone chair, or welcome, whatever it was.
You don't have to worry about that anymore, Howard.
Yeah. So, but how do you switch from zone chair to club administrator to do
You
work
don't.
for your, oh, you don't?
No, it depends on where you are in. So if you're in your club where you are designated as the club administrator, then you will have all your club administrator.
Okay.
If you are in your zone chair function, you will be able to see those clubs within your zone, and you'll function just as you would before with the zone chairs. But I'm glad you brought this question up, because one of the things that we talked about was inputting the information into the Lions activities. But if you remember, the old dashboard would show you, here's the number of activities, here's the number of Lions, here's the number of hours, here's the number of, or the dollars that you raised, here's the dollars you donated. Right now, the club hours, the club, the people served, the number of Lions, all of that is in there, but the amount of funds raised and the amount of funds donated are not available. I'm not sure. We've been trying to find out when that's going to be made available again. So that's one little thing in the area that we're having trouble with, as a couple of people have brought up. And again, they're bringing this out in waves, and we hope that they get some of the changes. One of the things I will encourage you to do is that when you look, when you're in the Lions portal, you'll see that there's an email and a phone number if you're having any problems. If you're finding areas that you can't access anymore, make sure you report that to them, because they're trying to update the system based on the needs. And the more calls that they get on a particular issue, the higher that element goes on their list of to-dos. So I would encourage you to make sure that you advise people. So Howard, did I answer that question?
Yeah, the other thing I was going to ask is not related. The portal font color is gray. In other words, the words,
Yeah, the contrast is not very high.
Yeah. Is there any way people can ask whoever have the power to ask them to make that black?
That's already been raised. Again, not knowing what the foundation of their system is, it might take a little while, but we do plan on pushing to get that more readable.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Frank, so Howard's question kind of went over what my issue was this morning. Remember we had that
Yep.
conversation?
Yep.
So I have different titles on the district. They have me in as district guest. They have me under GLT. They have me in as a past district governor. And they also have me down as multiple international convention chair, right? So under my membership, when I went in, I was trying to enter some activities in the learn function, some training stuff that we did, and it was giving me a hard time to do that. And what me and Frank realized was, under my membership, under my name, they had me listed as my highest title, which was the multiple international convention chair. I had to go in under my membership, under my officer titles, open them up, and I had to select GMT for District 23C so I can enter some learn activities. So if you're having a hard time, go into what your officer titles are and pick the correct one that gives you the permissions to enter your, whatever you have to enter.
Well, that may or may not work. Most of the people at their level, I don't think we're gonna have a problem. I think the issue that you had is that you were going into a realm that, because one of the things I found is if I go in my member and I try to do some of the things that I was showing you in the CA level, it won't work because I started out at the club level.
Right.
So put it this way, you
Yeah.
don't necessarily have to change your officer, but you got to make sure that you're starting from the right place. So
Yeah.
if you can't do something if you hit your membership, you might not be able to do something at the club level. So you might have to go to the club. If you're at a district officer, you'll have to make sure that you go into the CA level and choose. The one thing I'll tell you what, let me share this real quick. I'm trying not to confuse people with some of the issues that we have, but in this particular case, if you look right here, this District 23C is highlighted, which means that I can click on that and that puts me in to the district level. Same
Yeah.
thing with here. If I continue on with the multiple district, now it's putting me in that level. Now I don't have any multiple district authority, so I can't do anything. I can view, well, see right there, I can't view the convention because I don't have any levels there. But if I go into I don't know where I went. But if I go back to the District 23, I can look at there we go. If I go into that's a district. And then if I look at manage conventions or view conventions, it allows me to do that because I have it at that level. So that's part of, some of the issues. You got to make sure you're starting from the right place. And I'm trying not to confuse people any more than they
Yep.
already. Are we having fun?
Sure.
Everybody looks so cheerful.
You did a great job, Frank. I don't see any more hands raised. I don't see any more questions in the chat. You kept it just an hour. Oh, Charlene, you have a question. Here you go.
So if we can't enter dollar amounts, do you still want all the rest of the data for donations made to things? Like at least a listing of who we donated funds to?
I apologize if I might have misled you there. I was talking about the output, not the input. If you notice when she was showing you the activities, they still had the fields for dollar amounts, what you donated or what you raised. So that's still part of the data that you're going to put into your activities. It's only right now, we used to be able to run a list of, how much, so you could go into your club and say,
Oh, like an
how much-
overall metrics?
yeah.
Okay.
And for some reason, that's not showing right now.
Okay. Got
But
it.
you still
Good.
put the dollars in like you did before.
Okay, good.
But the difference is that if you remember on the old system, if you put something in as a service project, they may say, oh, by the way, did you raise any funds or did you, get any funds from LCF? In the case of a fundraiser, they're expecting you to tell either how much money you raised or how much money you donated if it was a case, question of donation.
Thank you.
Sure. Well, thank you, everybody, for putting up with my ramblings for the hour.
You did a great job, Frank. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. This was really a well put together event. Thank you, Frank.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Frank.
Partnership. And again, if you have any questions, send me an email or give me a call.
Thank you very much. And thank you for answering all my questions.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Frank.